It was the night before Christmas, and children were dreaming of the presents Santa would bring.
Somebody's on the roof.
But this Christmas Eve,
Hey, you!
the unthinkable happened.
You killed him.
Did not.
Now, this night,
If something should happen to me, put on my suit. The reindeer will know what to do.
it's up to them
Let's go!
to save the day. Together, Scott Kelvin and his son Charlie take on the biggest job in the world.
Looking good, Dad.
And though it has its dangers,
Nice teeth.
he thought it was just for one night.
You're the new Santa.
I am not Santa Claus.
You put on the suit, you're the big guy.
What if I don't buy into this Santa Claus thing?
Then there would be millions of disappointed children around the world.
He doesn't want the job,
It was a dream.
but it's growing on him.
I've gained 45 pounds in a week.
Now he's getting into the spirit
There are a lot of kids that believe in you. I want some ballet slippers.
and getting ready for the biggest night of his life.
How could I have done this without you, Charlie?
You couldn't.
Walt Disney presents a timeless tale that will warm your heart,
I love you, Santa Claus.
I love you, son.
lift your spirits, and make you believe.
You really are Santa Claus.
Pretty cool, huh?
Share the merriment and the magic.
Seeing isn't believing. Believing is seeing.
Tim Allen,
Santa?
the Santa Claus.
Hey guys, it's Chris,
And I'm Jack.
and we watched a movie.
Again.
This week, we decided to watch the classic 1994 holiday movie, The Santa Claus.
Good movie.
Really, that was a pretty good movie. That's Santa Claus with an E at the end.
Well, of course, because it's a clause. See, it's a play on words. See, some people just wouldn't understand this.
High concept arts. The Santa Claus.
With Tim Allen.
With Home Improvements, Tim Allen.
That's how I knew him, besides this.
Dude, same. That's all he really... I think he did stand-up, but I've never watched a stand-up.
Well, he's also Woody.
No, that's Tom Hanks.
Oh, no.
He's Buzz.
Shows my Toy Story knowledge.
I said you got a friend in me.
I've never seen Toy Story 4.
You don't need to. They got like a fucked up spork in that movie or something.
I think that's 3.
Yeah. No, that's 4. The third one is the daycare thing and the strawberry smelling bear.
But isn't the spork in that one also?
No, Spork's in the fourth one. I've seen the first 3. Spork's not in that one. All right. So the movie starts off with Scott Calvin at a holiday party. And, him and the entire marketing department had a really good year. Him and this one lady selling some toy or whatever. He says a funny joke about some dude having a secretary on his lap, which a few people laugh at.
See, but Chris, this is funny. Tim Allen's character sells toys for a living. Isn't that funny?
You know what else is funny? His initials are also SC.
But we'll get to there.
But anyway, long story short, he's got a dip from the party because he is late to grab his son because he's...
Big liar vibes.
Big liar vibes. He's a workaholic who doesn't spend enough time with his kid. But yeah, so his kid gets dropped off by the mom who... Do you know what her name is?
Wait, I have it up, I'm pretty sure.
I'm glad.
Laura.
I can't think of her... I've heard Neil's name more times than Laura's.
Yeah, she's further down this list.
It goes Scott, Charlie, Bernard, Neil, any other elf, and then...
The other Santa Claus.
The other Santa Claus. We'll get to that. And then... Judy. One of the elves, right?
Yes.
Right.
And the waitress.
And the waitress, yes. The doctor that sees him later in the movie. His boss. His co-workers.
That guy from Everybody Loves Raymond.
Exactly.
The dad from it.
Mm-hmm.
That's not Raymond, I guess.
It's not. Raymond's dad from...
Raymond's dad.
Raymond's dad. Sounds like a reference. But yes. All those people, and then there's Laura. But they drop him off or whatever, and Scott's getting into it with Neil and stuff. That's just their whole thing. Neil staying in the car.
You know, big divorced dad versus new stepdad energy.
Scott's all pissed because Neil told Charlie that Santa Claus isn't real or whatever, and he's like, we need to keep the kids' belief going and stuff and everything. You know, I want them to believe. So they had that little tussle, but then I completely forgot about this. Charlie does not want to stay over at his dad's.
I remember this.
You do?
But once again, big liar vibes.
Dude, like, he's holding his mom, and he's like, do I have to be here? Can you please come first thing in the morning to get me?
Of course I can, honey.
And then Scott, you know, being the dad, single divorced dad, starts to make dinner.
Is there just something about divorced dads where they can't make dinner by themselves?
It's a common trope. They always burn something. And he burned most of it.
Not most of it. He burned the turkey.
He also burned the rolls.
He did burn the rolls.
Yes.
How did he manage that?
I don't know. He burned the rolls.
Did he just lose track of time, or?
Maybe. He also burned the sweet potatoes.
What a fuck up.
Dude. Almost burned his kitchen down. And then, of course, he takes his son out to the only place that's open on Christmas.
Christmas Eve.
Christmas Eve. You're right.
I know it's not that one Asian restaurant from A Christmas Story.
That's what I was thinking. But it still involves a good deal of Asian people.
There were a lot of Asian people in this. Should we tell them, Chris?
We should. You take the honors.
Denny's. It's an American institution, Christopher.
Exactly. Made for Japanese businessmen and divorced dads.
This part is so funny. They walk by all of the Japanese business people, move right on past them, and it's just a bunch of single dads with their children.
Well, like, and also Tim Allen, the waitress comes up and she's like, "Are you with the Hiroshito group?" And he's like, "No." And he's like, "I burnt the turkey." No, Charlie's like, "He burnt the turkey," and she's like, "Oh yeah, right this way."
We have a section for those.
You just see all these single dads and their kids, all just looking at each other like, "Yeah, we messed up."
Yeah.
One dude burned
Shit.
his hands. Like,
Surprised he was the only one.
dude. Oh, goodness. But yeah, they, after that, they head back home or whatever, and Tim Allen is, reading Charlie a story or whatever, and trying to, skim through the rest of it because he thinks he's asleep, but Charlie's still awake and ask him all these questions to deconstruct, Christmas, like, how do the reindeer fly? How does he go everywhere in one night? How does he get down a chimney? All that kind of stuff.
It's like Thurman Merman.
Exactly. There's a lot of similarities here.
Honestly, when I was watching it, it did remind me a lot of Bad Santa.
Dude, like this. This is the skeleton right there.
This movie or Bad Santa reminds me of the Santa Claus.
Yeah.
Since the Santa Claus came first by
about 10 years.
10 years?
Yeah.
There you go.
Oh, yeah. But eventually, he lays him down, and then there's a rustle on the roof, and Charlie comes away.
There's a clatter, Chris.
That arose a clatter.
There arose a clatter.
Yes. Yes. And Charlie wakes up, Tim Allen, and Tim Allen, he's like, "Oh my God, there's someone on the roof. It's probably a burglar or something." And like Charlie's like, "What if it's Santa?" And he's like, "Stop that. We gotta figure
Let's be serious right now.
Let's be serious. Let me get my jacket on, not put any pants on, and head outside to check what's happening."
Genius.
I mean, I know, like, why he does that pants on from a story, like, perspective, but the fact you go outside and don't put pants on.
He had to get out there to make sure no one was robbing his house from his rooftop.
There's always time for pants.
Not necessarily. Moving on. He runs outside.
And he sees none other than some guy in some fat guy in a red suit on his roof, and he yells at him, and the guy gets startled, and he falls off the roof.
And hits the ground and dies.
Yep. And I forgot about this, but I love, like, Charlie coming down. It's like, "Oh my God, you killed Santa."
No, I didn't. I didn't do anything. He was on my roof.
He was standing his roof?
He's standing his roof from the ground, Chris.
This would be a completely different story if it was in Texas.
Or Florida.
Dude. Anywhere south of Indiana, including Indiana.
South of Indiana includes Indiana.
A ladder comes down off the roof. It's from a clatter company, a Rosa ladder company.
A Rosa ladder.
Yeah.
Or a Rosa chatter. Chatter ladder.
Rose a bladder? Arrows in my bladder.
Bars.
All right, start beatbox.
Arrows in your bladder. You need to go to a hospital, Chris?
Don't worry, it's just my kidney stones. So what I'm saying is, they go up onto the roof through this ladder, and like Scott's like, "No, Charlie, I'm just gonna grab his clothes because he's disappeared. The dude in the Santa Claus costume has vanished."
I completely forgot that the dead Santa Claus waves before he disappears.
I did too.
That was kind of creepy.
Yeah, maybe they put it in there to be like, "Oh, this is a terrible thing." Maybe he's like okay with this. Very odd.
Very strange.
Yeah, maybe it was like a post thing that they did. It's like, this is a little too dark. Maybe we need to have Santa like wave at them like, "I'm okay with this," you know?
What does it look like with no music, I wonder?
Chilling.
Chilling.
If you switch this music to anything else, it's probably chilling. But yeah, so he grabs his stuff and he's like, "We're gonna put it back in the sleigh and then call somebody to take care of this or something." I'm like, "What? Just call someone now. Don't go up there." I mean, well, his son's already up there, so he has to, but like, he heads up there. There's a bunch of reindeer in this sleigh or whatever, and they hop into it and takes off, and they go to another house.
They land on the roof. Tim Allen's all pissed off, naturally.
Oh, it's Tim Allen.
Cannot believe the situation he's in. Charlie convinces him to put the suit on, grabs the bag, and he just flies up in the air and down the chimney, which, you know, this effect looks way better than probably any of the other effects.
Dude, like I said, all the other effects look like they're from, like, some Super Nintendo game. Like,
these reindeer do not look very good.
No.
And when they fly around, they look even worse.
It looks terrible.
Yeah.
Dude, this is something I could render today on my laptop. But yeah, so, like, and, like, Charlie, like, you know, Scott's like, "Okay, we gotta get off this roof. This is bananas." And Charlie's like, "No, you gotta go deliver the presents." And Tim Allen's like, "Are you crazy?" And he's like, "You never want to do anything. You always hate whatever I want to do." And so Tim Allen's like, "Fuck, I gotta go.
Now I have to do this.
Damn it, I gotta put on this suit," which he should have done sooner. I mean, even if it is a dead dude's clothes.
Reminder, he's not wearing pants.
He's not. And it's the middle of the winter. Like, he's somehow not in pants.
Impressive.
Yes.
It's all the adrenaline of murdering Santa Claus.
The excitement. The thrill.
The blood was flowing, Chris. That's what I'm saying.
Good thing that suit was red. So, he puts on the suit. He flies into the air with the bag. And then, like, weirdly, 1994 CGI's himself down through the chimney. And the chimney opens up and he delivers the presents. Not before waking up a dog and a guy who, I feel like I heard a gun.
He did. He
Right?
shot a gun.
Yeah, that dude shot at him. Like,
Except it was like one of those like 007 like silencer shots, like pew. He tried to kill Santa Claus also.
he did.
Imagine he kills him. He kills Tim Allen.
How does this work? Does he then become Santa Claus, or does it have to be a roof?
Does Santa Claus only die from falling off roofs?
Exactly. And does the transferal process require a roof, or is it any time he dies?
It's in the contract, Chris.
The Santa Claus?
The Santa Claus.
No credits.
Trademarked.
We'll only stop if they ever say anything. Gets like chased out of there, and then he's like, "All right, we did that. Let's head home." And they just go to the house across the street, and this just begins the process of Tim Allen delivering presents. Like
like Santa Claus.
Like Santa Claus, he drops a kayak in one place and knocks over a tree. He gives a girl he gives a girl a doll, and this did remind me of Bad Santa, because like she's asking him questions like, "Where's your beard?" And he was like, "I gotta cut it off." It's like, "You look pretty thin," and it's like, "Well, I'm watching what I eat or whatever." And
I'm watching my saturated fats.
Yeah. And she's like, "Aren't you gonna eat the cookies and milk?" It's like, "No, because I'm lactose intolerant. Now go to sleep. Do you want this doll?"
I'll take this doll back.
Oh God! And I think
Big Bad Santa vibes from it.
huge Bad Santa vibes. But that's like the last house they do. And then he's like, "Let's head home." And the reindeer take them to the North Pole. Naturally. And they just unhitch from the sleigh. And there's at least a good 10 seconds where like Tim Allen like puts his face into his hands like, "Oh my God, are we gonna die out here?"
We're gonna die over here in the North Pole.
I have condemn me and my son to die in a frozen wasteland.
Good thing that Elf came out and raised the North Pole that has like, I don't know, it's like a garage door opener.
ADT.
There's a little code he puts in. 1, 2, 3, 8. And now we know how to get to the North Pole, Chris.
That's the first step.
I want to be Santa Claus.
Don't worry, Jack. You will be Santa Claus. We'll knock him off a roof and then you can put on the suit.
Finally. They go into, Santa's workshop where there's all these elves and Tim Allen is still completely pissed off by everything he's seeing.
Seeing all these elves, he thinks they're children running around or whatever. He's like, can I speak to who's in charge? And each of them are like, it's you. You're in charge. He's like, no, the person in charge of you guys. It's like, that's you. It's like the head elf. You.
Question, is Santa an elf?
I guess that's what they're insinuating. Or at least he was before Tim Allen killed him.
A hilarious concept for a movie. Kill Santa Claus, you become Santa Claus.
It's such a dark concept for such a beloved Christmas movie.
As far as I know, this works with dictators also.
True.
Is Santa Claus a dictator? I don't know. He has complete unilateral.
I don't think there's any democracy in the North Pole. The elves enjoy it.
Well, it's just their place, Chris, It'd be strange if they weren't there, making all these toys all year long.
Exactly.
They wouldn't be happy.
Exactly. It's what they've always known.
It's what they're designed for.
All right. I think that's as far as we can go. Let's be a little jolly on this episode. Okay, so then in comes the surliest of elves, Bernard, played by this guy from Numbers.
Yeah, best known for his role in Numbers, the TV show, the greatest TV show ever made.
Yes.
If you've not seen Numbers, watch Numbers.
Stop this right now and watch the first episode of Numbers. You won't be able to find it on anything, so you'll have to start off with season 4, episode 1 on Pluto. But
and wait for our new podcast, just us talking about Numbers.
Chris and Jack talk numbers.
Maybe 3 people will ever have heard of Numbers. The TV show.
They'll all be surprised when we say there's 6 seasons.
Not as surprised as we were. You see, Chris, it's a show where it's crime, but we're solving it with math.
Lame.
Very.
What happened to all the mentalists and people in wheelchairs solving crime?
But Chris, he, sees visions and stuff.
It's so ridiculous that he sees those visions. You see, we can't predict where the water will fall from the sprinkler, but we can take all the places that it fell from and calculate where it came from. Numbers.
Great show. Watch Numbers.
If you want a good laugh, crack open some beers and watch Numbers. I swear to goodness. But yeah, so Bernard gives Scott the 3rd degree, and it's like, you're a Santa Claus now. He's like, no, I'm not that guy. He fell off my roof. It's like, yep, but now you're him. Completely glanced over this whole thing where it's like, that guy's dead. The elves don't care. They're like, you're Santa Claus now.
I've never understood that about this movie, where they just do not care. How often does this happen, where Santa Claus dies and you just replace that quickly? They've seen this before.
Of course, they're used to it. It's one of those things where it's
maybe
like,
the last Santa Claus was like an asshole or something. They just didn't like him. They're like, yes.
The funny thing is, remember I told you I was watching the Santa Clauses on Disney Plus?
Yes.
It explains all this, and it's awful. It is a terrible 6-episode miniseries that, tries to make this whole really dark concept a lot lighter. I might go into that at the end of this episode, but I can't get into it now.
The mystery is the fun part.
Yes.
And the hilarious
horrifying
part.
Jack, this is like a few changes from being a psychological thriller.
Change the music a little bit. You make it seem like Scott is seeing all these things.
Exactly. You don't make it for sure if this is happening.
He's in the North Pole, but really he's, I don't know, downtown Chicago.
He's in an abandoned warehouse, and the elves are all homeless people. Bernard's the head homeless person. There seems to be like after this all blows out, Bernard.
Maybe it is a democracy. They elected Bernard.
Bernard, that dude's crazy. He keeps calling himself Santa. Don't worry, I'll handle this, guys.
I'll give his son a snow globe.
Bernard just grabs like a small fish tank off the ground or something. Puts some shit in there, screws it onto something. Here, kid, it's a snow globe.
This is a snow globe. Yes, it is.
Yes, it is, brat. Kids today not understanding, not, taking good presents. God.
Why am I so itchy?
So itchy. God damn it, being homeless. At the end of this episode, we will describe our dark psychological thriller, the Santa Claus. But yeah, so Scott's not really accepting it, and he's like, what if I don't be Santa? And all the elves stop working and stare at him. Some even look like they're about to tear up, and he's like, I'm just saying if, or whatever, like, and then like...
Hypothetically.
And Bernard's like, don't even joke about that, you'll ruin Christmas for everybody. And Scott just decides to, okay, well, whatever. So him and Charlie go to bed. A nice elf brings some cocoa. He says she looks good for her age. She's like, I'm seeing someone in gift wrapping.
Hilarious joke.
Amazing. She's been perfecting her cocoa recipe for 1,200 years.
She said that. I literally said, damn. Felt like Chris Tucker.
Oh, that's the holiday movie we didn't do, Jack. Friday After the Next.
No. Stop. I will never watch that movie again.
It's hilarious you watched it once.
Oh my god. I can't believe I watched that movie.
Okay, to hear us talk about this nonsensical holiday bullshit, subscribe to our Patreon. But back to the movie. So yeah, Scott wakes up the next day, and he thinks it's all a dream because they're back at his house. But he's in the Santa Claus pajamas that they gave him, and Charlie also remembers it, and his parents pick him up, and he's talking just about, like, going to the North Pole and delivering all the presents and stuff and everything, and...
Well, I mean, naturally.
Yeah, and Neil and Laura?
Yes, Laura.
Yeah. I was about to say Mom. Neil...
Neil and Mom.
They say Mom more than Laura. For any of our dedicated listeners, if you want to go through the Santa Claus and count how many times they say Laura, that'd be helpful. But
I'm looking at you, our listener from Chile.
I was thinking Iraq.
Iraq.
Sorry, Iraq.
Damn it, Chris. So culturally insensitive.
So they're pissed that he didn't set Charlie straight or whatever, but like, Scott's like, whatever, I had a good night with my son, weird dream, and then he goes back inside, and as he's going in with the Santa Claus pajamas, he's like, these aren't my pajamas. I usually sleep naked, butt-ass naked. And then, like, a woman and her daughter walk by, and it's like, hey, guys. And she's like, keep walking.
Look forward.
Well, for career day, Charlie has brought his mother, Neil, and Scott. And Neil's like, I'm all ready. I'm so happy. Charlie, he's like, he brought me here. I'm going to go talk about being a therapist. And Charlie's like, I want Scott to go first. And Neil just gets deflated.
And then Scott comes up and he's like, eat shit, Neil.
Yeah. Get got. And he's going up there like, I'm going to
This is a family movie. They don't actually say these things.
Yeah.
This is our words.
These are our ad-libs. This is what you get when we retell a story. It's a little cruder. There's a lot more profanity.
There's a lot of shits and a few fucks.
You know it. Oh, God. But yeah, he goes up there, and Charlie immediately cuts him off, and is like, no, my dad's Santa Claus. And,
Everyone laughs.
Yeah. And Charlie's trying to, prove it and stuff, and all the kids just start...
Well, he's trying to explain what happened. He's like, yeah, the other Santa Claus fell off the roof and died. And then my dad put his clothes on and became Santa Claus. And one kid is like, you're telling me.
If one day I want to be Santa Claus, all I have to do is knock you off a roof.
It's like, need a restraining order versus that kid.
I'm glad the movie spends time thinking about this horrifying concept.
It is a terrifying concept. A hilarious concept. Very, very dark.
Incredibly dark.
But I love it. I'm all here for it.
Oh, of course, dude. And then, what is it? After that, they immediately go to the principal's office or whatever, counselor, whoever, to talk about this. Because they're like, yeah, this is problematic. Charlie thinks you're Santa Claus. And, like, Scott's like, so what? He thinks I'm Santa Claus. What's the big deal or whatever? And they're like, Scott, this could be a big issue. Oh, wait, we missed one thing. When he's talking about the elves, the teacher cuts him off and is like, we don't say elves. We say little people.
That joke could be an elf.
Dude, it could be in Bad Santa.
It could be in Bad Santa also. Probably is an elf. Are we gonna watch Elf, Chris?
I mean, the holiday season moves on. If we go elf, we're doing Jingle All the Way, too. Because that one's hysterical. No. That one is amazing to talk about.
I didn't say anything.
Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sinbad.
I didn't say anything.
I know, Jack. I know what you're saying right now. I know what you're thinking.
What is happening? Am I in a psychological thriller?
You always have it.
Oh, no. That explains a lot.
I'm gonna get you a typewriter.
Is this Misery?
Always has been.
Are you Kathy Bates?
I'm not Khan. Write the story the way I want it, Jack.
Fine. Just don't break my legs.
No promises. One leg.
This is a little dark for Santa Claus. Trying to keep the holiday spirit.
This is darker than Bad Santa.
Honestly, that was just degenerate.
That was just degenerate. But yeah, and then like while, you know, they're like recounting what happened that night, Scott's, you know, making jokes. He's like, oh, well, you know, me and Charlie, we split some rum or whatever, you know, got nice and sloshed. And he's like, guys, I wrote him a story and put him in the bed and he had this dream or whatever. But they're still not believing him. But like, you know, the Santa stuff just slowly gets more out of hand. Like, next day, like, Scott wakes up and he's like, you know, 190 pounds.
That's a funny scene where the scale just keeps rising.
It like what? It hits 190 and it keeps going.
It just starts going up more and more.
And at first he looks in the mirror, he's like, oh, it's just the mirror. It's just the mirror. And he walks away. Then he comes back and he yells.
Denial.
And he goes to work or whatever. And oh my goodness, his coworkers, especially his boss, huge fat shaming. It's insane the kind of things they're saying, like, oh my God, what happened to you, Scott? You look like the Pillsbury Doughboy.
Well, to be fair, his weight gain is quite shocking. I cannot blame them for their reaction.
That is true, but the boss called him the Pillsbury Doughboy.
Chris, if you got to 190 pounds, I'd call you the Pillsbury Doughboy as well.
Yeah, but you're an asshole.
And those executives are not?
No, that's what I'm saying. They are.
Wait. On to that one.
Yeah.
Shit.
But yeah, then they're like ordering lunch as soon as he gets there. I mean, he comes up with an excuse like, oh yeah, I got stung by a bee and everything, so this is all, I'm just, you know, swollen, but it'll go down. And as they're ordering...
Should have said bulking.
Dude, honestly. He could have just said he's been eating a lot. I mean, like, we don't know if this is like a day change sort of thing. Like, they kind of insinuate because he just wakes up and he's big. But,
right.
But we don't know, like, the exact time frame.
He orders a Caesar salad and then, like, 6 different desserts.
He orders chocolate chip cookies. He orders cheesecake. He orders a hot fudge sundae with the fudge on the side. And then as
the same face, he orders
on the side.
Fudge on the side.
And then, like, they're talking about toys and stuff, and he's like, you know, really wants to take away the technical toy that they want to get. Well, they want to put Santa Claus in a tank.
They want to put Santa Claus in a tank. Someone had to say something.
Insert Raytheon joke.
Not yet, Chris.
Lockheed and Martin.
It's too dangerous, Chris.
It's too dangerous.
I want them to know.
Jack, they know. One of my friends' his dad works at Raytheon.
Shh, Chris. Oh no.
Don't worry, I'm safe.
I know you are. But what about me and Tim Allen?
Oh my God. But yeah, so, and he's like, I don't want to do that. That's not the real spirit of Christmas. It should be nice and simple. And his boss pulls him out and is like, you're losing it. Like, you're gigantic and these ideas are crazy.
Go to a doctor.
Yeah, go to a doctor. So he goes to a doctor and, like...
Perfectly fine, perfectly healthy.
Yeah. And he's like, you call this healthy? Like, he just shakes his belly, like...
That he did.
He did.
Perfectly healthy, though.
Perfectly
Allegedly.
Hey, dude, you can be healthy and be a little big. It's all about fitness. Does not mean you're not fat. I mean, it just means you're fit. Like, you can be big and fit.
I don't understand.
I know. But you can be fit and big. It's about being healthy, you know? You see, you need to start off your day with 100 push-ups, 100 crunches, 100 squats, and a 10-kilometer run.
You do not do this.
I used to.
Freak. You're not real.
Come on, Jack. You used to do my workout at 50%.
You're less believable than Santa Claus.
I am, Jack. All the time I'm like, am I a figment of Jack's imagination?
I've also wondered this.
Oh, God. You're both of us, Jack.
Get out of my dreams, Chris.
But yeah, after all the dessert and everything, Scott's just shifting more and more into Santa. Like, the doctor also gets his, like, heartbeat, and it's a holiday song. I can't remember which one, but it's like, da 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 da.
What fun it is to ride in a
one-horse open sleigh.
Hey!
Jingle bells. That's
Jingle
what it
bells.
is. Yeah. And the doctor's freaked out. Like, he's like, oh my God, am I hearing that right?
That is not healthy.
That is not. His heartbeat just stops at random points. Like,
Don't have to be a doctor to know that.
no, easily not. And then, what is it? He goes to Charlie's soccer game, and like,
He just looks like Santa Claus.
He does.
He keeps wearing red. He keeps wearing a red sweatshirt.
it's in the back of his head, Jack.
He's not helping himself at all.
It's also changing his mind, Jack. He's doing it subconsciously. This is a psychological thriller.
There's a line of kids just wanting to tell him what they want for Christmas. Naturally, I mean, if you see Santa Claus, you're gonna tell him what you want. Like,
Exactly. And Neil and Laura see this, and Scott like takes the kid off his lap, and he's like, "Hey, they formed the line. I didn't do this or whatever." And they're like, "Scott, you're losing it. Like, this is unhealthy. You're changing your appearance so Charlie likes you." And Scott's like, "No, I'm not doing that at all." And they choose to literally take Charlie out of the soccer game. They're in the middle of the soccer field too.
this made me mad. They're in the middle of the soccer field. The referee's not doing anything. Doesn't stop the play. There are barely even coaches in this. There are no formations in these lineups at all.
Okay, well, you're getting... It's
ludicrous.
Okay, all right. We know you're a football fan.
Luda.
Oh, my God. So, yeah, they take Charlie away or whatever, and, you know, they think he's losing it, and they decide to go to a judge to get Scott's visitation rights revoked, because they want to, like, I think Laura wants to shock him awake. I think Neil doesn't mind just not seeing, you know, Scott again, but,
I mean, you can't really blame them. I mean, like...
Well, dude, exactly. From their perspective, Jack, this is a psychological thriller. He is going insane and turning himself into Santa Claus.
To make Charlie like him.
Exactly.
And it's working.
Dude, a few modifications to the script, it's a deeply disturbing movie.
Don't ruin this movie, Chris.
I'm not. I don't do that with holiday movies.
Not yet.
No, I mean, it's like you with The Shining.
The Shining was already fucked up. Damn it, you can't blame me for this.
I can, and I do.
But remember, Chris, I said 42 when there were only 42 seconds left in the episode. You remember this?
That's bananas.
And it was all planned.
Yeah, sure. It was planned by fate, because that's the only way it's happened.
Fate, my name's Jack.
I will... Okay, let me get this...
Let me get this straight.
Alright, Scott, you know, now almost completely Santa Claus, goes to see Charlie or whatever, and, like, Neil's like, hey, we can press charges, you're not supposed to be here, and Scott's like, don't make me beat you, Neil. And Neil backs down, as a psychiatrist would, and...
What's that supposed to mean?
You know what that means.
What, like, not a doctor?
He is a doctor, though.
Sure, okay, Chris.
What are you...
Alright.
It's not even like a psychologist, he's a psychiatrist.
Chris, quit joking around. It's
Oh my
getting
God.
ridiculous.
Alright, okay. This goddamn thing. Alright, so Scott goes to see Charlie to, like, say goodbye, because he doesn't really get a chance to do that. But, like, Charlie's like, I believe you're Santa Claus, you're Santa Claus. And Bernard appears out of nowhere to eat their turkey or whatever, and, call them back to the North Pole.
He roasts their turkey also.
He roasts it? Oh, it says it's too
dry.
dry.
Not like he literally roasts it, but he makes fun of it.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's not good. It's very dry.
Exactly. But he's always just appearing and eating people's food. I respect it. It's a power move.
It's you. It's literally you.
Don't know what you mean.
You just want to be the main guy in numbers. Don't lie to me.
Jack, I'd love to be able to see the numbers. Then I could go to Vegas with Kevin Spacey.
Damn it, wrong movie. We're all over the place.
Scott, spurred on by Bernard being like, yeah, the kid can come if he wants. It's like, all right, let's head to the North Pole. I'm going to kidnap my son.
Well, here's the thing, Chris. You're Santa Claus. You can basically do whatever you want.
You're saying Santa Claus is above the law?
Yes. He breaks into people's houses, Chris, and takes food and milk.
It's offered to him. I give you the breaking and entering.
It's offered to him.
It's offered to him. He's not stealing those. They're meant for him.
Well, how is he not stealing them if he's not breaking and entering?
I said he is breaking and
No,
entering.
I know. It has to be both.
You can break it and
They
enter.
put out the cookies and milk, as a play for the kids, whatever. The parents wake up and they eat the cookies and milk. At least that's what my dad did.
Exactly, that's what all parents do. But in essence, they're set out for him. He is breaking and entering, though, definitely,
He's breaking and entering. He must be stealing those cookies as well.
No, what?
Damn it, Chris. This is the only way it makes sense to me.
I forget how your law-abiding mind works.
Law-abiding mind?
Yeah, but what was it? So they head off to the North Pole to get ready for Christmas and stuff, and they're like souping up the sleigh and souping up his suit and everything, making it fire retarded. But Scott's completely focused on the only important thing, which is how do you stop me from falling off the roof?
This is important.
This seems like the only thing that can stop Santa Claus is falling off a roof.
Well, Santa Claus can't beat gravity.
Exactly.
Gravity is the law of the land. Alright, Chris?
Of course, dude.
I don't know. Or maybe it's just a theory. I don't know. I don't know what I believe, Chris.
Jack, in ascending order, the most powerful forces in the universe are Santa Claus, gravity, and love.
Damn it, Chris. I'm not ready to watch these movies. I'm not ready.
Can't wait for Nolan month.
I don't want to do Nolan month. Nolan month is going to be 2 months of us watching these movies. I'm going to get pissed off and walk away and not watch these movies.
But yeah, so they're getting ready, and it's, that time of year to, head out. So they head out to, well, in the interim of them, getting ready, the parents have obviously alerted the authorities.
Well, of course.
Obviously.
Their son has been kidnapped.
Exactly. And like always, it was by one of the parents. What is it? But, yeah, and some of these scenes, though, when they're describing, the assailant as, Santa Claus, some of these cops just being dicks, won't be able to tell by, him wearing red.
The red suit, white beard. Damn it, Johnson, you're fired.
Exactly.
This is serious.
A child's been kidnapped by a maniac who happens to look like Santa Claus.
Damn it, stop laughing. How do I imagine all cops being just Johnson?
Well, you gotta make levity of it. A lot of those jobs do it. You would be surprised how many times doctors say crap like that.
Johnson?
But yeah, so the cops are getting ready and everything, and on the Christmas night or whatever, Santa goes and delivers a bunch of presents. He's even delivers presents to the same house that he did, at the beginning of the movie, and the little girl, being nice, gets him soy milk instead of, regular milk, because, he's...
That's actually a sweet moment.
Exactly, he's lactose intolerant. It's very sweet of her.
When he's being a dick earlier in the movie.
But she's a child, luckily, so, or maybe her parents are abusive, or, verbally abusive like that, so she didn't notice. So like I would say.
I was not ready for that.
I don't think anybody will be. But
this is further proof. We do not write down what we're talking about.
This is completely unscripted.
that, maybe we should.
Damn it, you're ruining my holiday cheer! This is the perspective that the Santa Claus was always meant to be seen with. So they get to Charlie's house or whatever, and they're gonna. Charlie's made something special for his parents, and Scott goes down to deliver the presents, and he gets stopped by all the cops, who luckily don't shoot him.
All they do is call him Fat Boy.
Yep, call him Fat Boy, grab him, ask him where Charlie is, and he's like, he's in the sleigh on the roof. And they're like, oh yeah, sure, yeah. And they take him off to jail or whatever. And
it's something that we talked about. They pick him up and move him the whole time.
that's hilarious.
His feet don't touch the ground.
Exactly.
How strong are they?
These are like, Tim Allen's like 5'10", and he has to be over 200 pounds, like, as this Santa Claus, like. They just lifted him casually.
He has to be like 300 pounds, like.
Dude.
He's a big boy. Their words, not mine.
Yeah. But yeah, they get him, lock him away, and all the kids in the neighborhood for some reason are out, and they all. Why the parents brought all their kids outside to see this? Like,
because it's hilarious, Chris, to see how sad these kids are watching Santa Claus go to jail. Still better than shooting him in the back, though.
oh my God, still less traumatizing than Bad Santa. But maybe a more fitting ending for if this was a psychological thriller. But yeah, so he goes to jail, and like they send out the like elf, special forces to like save him or whatever. And they stop by Charlie's to.
They're the EWA, Chris.
Elves with attitude.
Nice. Their joke, not mine.
Yes. No.
I'm not that clever.
But yeah, they pick up Charlie, head off to the jail. They incapacitate a cop, and then they use these amazing like wire that just burns through metal bars to like.
Remind me of like lightsabers or something.
No, it kind of reminded me of. I think there's actually something from like a Mission Impossible movie that's a lot like this, like one of those wires just like burns through something. And insert joke about American military or whatever. Like, imagine if they dropped that, dude. Like, all right, so they save Scott and take him back to Charlie's, where Charlie thinks they're just gonna drop off the presents and head back out, but like Scott's like, nah, you gotta stay here with like your mom and even Neil, because we're family. But I'll like be here to see you whenever. And Bernard says like, yep, just shake the snow globe I gave you, and he'll just show right up.
Magic.
But yeah, so all
played that off well.
Again, unscripted. So yeah, so they.
I prefer authentic.
I prefer riffing.
I prefer scatting. Not in this household.
We really got to get a sign that says no scat. We'll put it right under the stop sign. Stop. No scat. Stop.
No scatting. Da 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 da.
Hey, hammer dance. Hammer dance is perfectly fine. No skit scat, but out of the bop. None of that.
None of that.
All's well that sort of ends well. Charlie's back at home. Scott leaves. Charlie just immediately shakes the globe to see if he can come back. And he does, and it's been 10 minutes. But then he, like, tucks him away or whatever, and he goes to finish off, delivering the presents. I guess we also, I missed this. When he's first leaving or whatever, the parents come out to, like, tell the cops, like, because the cops all surround the house. They're like, it's okay, it's fine, and they just don't listen to them and storm the house. But luckily, Scott's already on the roof, and he flies away.
And everyone sees.
The entire neighborhood, like.
But most importantly, Chris, Neil got his weenie whistle.
He did.
Thank goodness.
And Laura got the mystery game?
Mystery date.
Mystery
or date game. Date night. Mystery date something.
You want any more attempts?
No, probably shouldn't.
Okay. Yeah, okay.
I don't know what this game is.
It's okay.
We're way too young to know what that game is.
Oh, that box looks like it was from the 60s. So, yeah, no. But, yeah, so. Also, just a random thing. There was a bunch of elves in the group of kids for some reason. I don't know why.
They just wanted to see Santa Claus.
They work with him every day.
No, they do not.
Yes, they do. He's at the North Pole every day.
No, he's not. Tim Allen has not been there the entire year.
He's been there for the past month. He's been there since Thanksgiving.
He was not.
Uh-huh.
Nuh-uh.
Yeah.
Bernard said to come back for Thanksgiving. He sure didn't, though.
That's the meal.
What?
The meal that they're having, that's the Thanksgiving dinner. That's why they're eating turkey. That's why Bernard shows up.
No, that's Christmas Eve.
That wasn't... No,
That's the same day. He takes Charlie with him. That's when he abducts him.
The same day?
Yes. They do all that. The elves are showing him all the flame retardant stuff that same day. It's that night, and then he goes out and does everything.
But isn't it like a...
What, do you think he steals Charlie for a month?
I thought so. Is there not a scene, though, of them, like, being, like, the daytime the next day where they're, like, talking to the cops?
No. It's that night.
I'm pretty sure the scene where they're talking to the police the next day is during the day, though.
No.
It's at night?
Yes.
All right, well, let's be something we talk about in post.
No, people have turkey for Christmas also, Chris.
I know they do. But, yeah, I mean, yeah, that's the Santa Claus. Holiday classic. One of my favorite movies.
It's one of my favorite Christmas movies also.
Oh, yeah. What would you rank it, Jack?
I'd probably give it like a 9 out of 10.
9 out of 10? Guess I'm feeling pretty charitable this year, so I'll go 6 out of 10. I'm kidding.
His heart grew 5 sizes that day.
No, yeah, I think I go like 9 out of 10 also. It's a classic. It's pretty funny, too. Like,
It's very funny.
yeah.
There's like magic involved, like, you know, it's like love your family, all that good stuff.
And it balances a very dark concept very well. Like,
Shockingly well.
like it's...
in a very whimsical way. It just ignores how you murder Santa Claus and you become Santa Claus.
It sets a weird precedent. Like,
that kid was right. That kid in class was right.
yeah, it's a really weird concept that I'm glad they addressed multiple times throughout the movie. Like, that's all you gotta do to be Santa Claus, and none of the elves care? How often does this happen?
Charlie said he wants to be part of the family business. Does he have to kill his dad to become Santa Claus?
No.
He has to kill the guy who kills his dad.
Exactly. And that should have been the sequel. Everyone thinks Charlie's crazy, but he's like, no, my dad used to be Santa Claus. But then he was murdered.
Instead, we have Charlie resentful of being a moody teenager and Jack Frost and all this bullshit. Fuck those other movies.
Jack Frost steals Christmas because no one cares about Jack Frost. I think they saved the day with a hug. That movie felt like it was like produced by Stars. Because like I watched it on Stars and it felt really cheap and like nothing really happened in it.
This movie we just watched made a joke about Disney. We watched it on Disney Plus.
Mm-hmm. I think they brought up the Disney Channel.
Mm-hmm.
Which, I mean, it's one of those things where like this movie is good and everything, but like I could have seen it being I don't know if the Disney Channel was around back then, but like ABC Family would always have, you know, like Disney movies, and ABC would have Disney movies.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
I could see it like being that, but yeah, no, it's a good movie. It's a classic. It's really fun to watch. I definitely would suggest watching this during the holidays for your family or just you. So.
If you don't like this movie, you're an asshole.
Honestly. Like, it's the Santa Claus.
Or you don't celebrate Christmas.
Fair, because everyone doesn't celebrate Christmas. We did learn that from this movie.
That's what they said. I don't know if I believe them.
I think, oh yeah, I was going to mention the Santa Claus's thing. Yeah, so apparently
God.
in that thing, they set this precedent that, like, Scott is the first human Santa Claus.
Oh, okay, so the rest have been elves.
No. Sorta, no. The elves are, like, made of magic, so they're, like, ethereal, and so are the Santa Clauses. But, like, the Santa Clauses are slightly different.
They're elves plus?
Yeah, sure.
Tall elves.
Tall elves, yeah. They were all, like, apparently Saint Nicholas or whatever was an actual person, and he died. His spirit became, like, ethereal and became the first Santa Claus. And then each Santa Claus that came after him was also somehow created by the spirit of Christmas. But then they were like, let's try to make a human Santa Claus because they wanted to pass on the tradition to humanity. And then they knew that if a Santa then got a wife and had kids in the North Pole, it would pass on the magic of Christmas into the kids, giving them special powers. His kids have powers, Jack. It is an awful series, and I watched all of it.
You know, not everything needs lore.
It does not. It was really bad.
Some things don't need to be explained.
Yes.
They already explained to me how it works.
Mm-hmm.
It may be dark, but I don't care.
Exactly. They added, like, they had, like, the Santa Claus performance, like, that was all meant to happen, Calvin. It's like, you meant to fall off my roof? It's like, yep. You think I'd fall off one roof after, like, being Santa Claus for decades from you just saying hi? I think he made a joke about, like, being in, like, rough areas or something after that, too. Can't remember exactly how he went about it, but it's kind of funny. So, yeah, that's the Santa Clauses. Would not recommend that. 3 out of 10. Don't watch it.
I've never seen it. I will not watch it.
It's fair. It's on Disney+. I watch it because Cal Penn. I love Cal Penn.
Pass.
That's fine. What? You think I'm going to push you to watch the Santa Clauses?
Maybe.
No. Hell no.
All right, Chris, let's get back into the Secret Life of the American Teenager.
Oh, God. All right. So, as always, guys, I'm Chris.
And I'm Jack.
And we watch movies.
Sometimes.
All right.